On the 957th day of World War II, the Pacific Ocean was both a highway and a battlefield. For the sailors of the United States Navy, the horizon stretched endlessly, a reminder of the unforgiving nature of their mission. The war in Europe had entered its final stage, but across the vast Pacific, the struggle against Imperial Japan raged on with undiminished ferocity. Aboard the steel decks of carriers, battleships, and destroyers, sailors prepared for another day of combat. Planes were lined up, engines roaring, their wings heavy with bombs and torpedoes. Below, crews labored in stifling heat, every man a cog in the vast machine of war. As dawn broke, the fleet drew within striking distance of a heavily fortified island. For days, reconnaissance flights had revealed enemy bunkers and hidden artillery. The island was little more than a speck in the ocean, yet its importance was immense. Another stepping stone in the island-hopping campaign, another stronghold that had to be taken. Then the bombardment began. Naval guns thundered with earth-shaking force, shells arcing across the sky before slamming into enemy fortifications. The sea quaked under the fury of the barrage. Above, squadrons of carrier aircraft swooped low, their bombs tearing into fuel depots and command centers. Tracer fire laced the air. Some planes returned riddled with holes. Others never came back at all. For the men in the landing craft, the waiting was agony. Shoulder to shoulder, rifles clutched tightly. They listened to the pounding guns and the scream of bombs. They knew that once the ramps dropped, the real test would begin. The sea was churned by explosions in the wakes of dozens of landing craft. Smoke hung over the water, drifting from the burning island. As they drew closer, the sounds of battle grew sharper. The rattle of machine guns, the thump of mortars, the cries of men already fighting ashore. The order came. Ramps crashed down, soldiers splashed into the surf. Enemy fire erupted instantly. Some men fell before reaching the sand. Others crawled forward, dragging themselves toward what little cover the beach offered. Explosions tore the air. Wounded cried out for medics. Officers shouted orders lost in the roar. Step by step, American troops pushed inland. The ground was treacherous, jagged rocks, tangled jungle, paths laced with mines. Japanese defenders, dug into caves and bunkers, fought with desperation. Machine gun nests spat fire until silenced by grenades or flamethrowers. Mortars rained down on advancing squads. Snipers fired from hidden perches, vanishing back into the shadows. Progress was paid in blood. Small groups of soldiers flanked enemy positions, calling in artillery or airstrikes when possible. The ground shook as bombs smashed into ridges and caves. Medics worked under fire, dragging the wounded back, their bandages soaked red. Hour by hour, the battle dragged on. The sun climbed high, turning the battlefield into an oven. Water was scarce, ammunition precious, but momentum slowly shifted. By afternoon, beachheads were secured, and supplies began to flow from the ships. Engineers cleared paths through obstacles while infantry pressed deeper inland. The cost was staggering. Beaches were littered with wrecked landing craft, burned-out tanks, and the bodies of men who had fallen in the first waves. Graves were dug in the sand even as the battle raged, makeshift crosses marking the sacrifice of those who would never see home again. As evening fell, the guns of the fleet still spoke, though with more precision now. The setting sun cast the sky in orange and red, mingling with the black haze of burning fuel. Exhausted soldiers dug foxholes, set up machine guns, and braced for the counterattack that everyone expected would come after dark. Offshore, sailors fought their own battle. Some ships bore scars from enemy shells or kamikaze strikes. Damage control teams patched holes, fought fires, and tended to the wounded. Chaplains moved quietly among the men, offering words of comfort. In crowded operating rooms, surgeons worked tirelessly to save lives torn apart by steel and fire. And so ended the 957th day of World War II, another day of sacrifice, another day of endurance. The island was not yet secure. More battles lay ahead. More lives would be claimed before the campaign was over. For those who survived, the day would never be forgotten. The endless ocean, the thunder of guns, the chaos of the landing, the faces of comrades lost, all became part of the story of a war that demanded everything. The Pacific was vast, and victory still lay far away. Yet each island, each battle, each day like this brought the Allies closer to the end, closer to the final confrontation, closer to peace bought with unimaginable sacrifice.